Good morning, everybody. Sorry to keep you guys waiting. Thanks for all the prayers and ideas and stuff for getting over this cold that I had. I feel a lot better. Had a fever yesterday and it broke, and I feel better now. Now it's just in my chest, as you can hear. So all of your prayers and wishes definitely helped, and I think I'm on the tail end of this. So today we're gonna go over the headlines. We're gonna get between the headlines as we always do. Let's make sure we're connected first. It looks like we are. Tom says we're live, I believe. Anyway, welcome to the world of weird, right? Now, just 5 days ago, the media reported that the two men that had assassinated Malcolm X were set to be cleared. Here's the headline from just 2 days ago, you guys. And something else bizarre happened 5 days later. And that was that the daughter of Malcolm X turned up dead. Now, anyone in their right mind would be asking lots of questions, right? Are the two connected? Now, I don't know if they're connected or not, but it's interesting nonetheless. Two men set to be cleared in the 1965 killing of Malcolm X. Here's the headline from November 17th, last week. Let's read this. Two of the three men convicted of the assassination of Malcolm X are set to be cleared Thursday after insisting on their innocence since the 1965 killing of one of the U.S.'s most formidable fighters for civil rights. Nearly 2-year-long reinvestigation found that authorities withheld evidence. So they're basically crying corruption here. These guys were let off in terms of their culpability in the assassination of Malcolm X. And then 5 days later, Malcolm X's daughter is found dead in her apartment. Now let's read this because they don't give us much information. Malika Shabazz, a daughter of Malcolm X, was found dead in her Brooklyn, New York home Monday, police told ABC News. Makes you wonder, right? What did this woman know? Or what was she about to say that could have changed the course of events in terms of these two guys getting off from this, right? She was found dead just before 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The death does not appear suspicious. Now, anytime they say that, just think the opposite, right? So, bizarre times, right? Now, let's get into our next story. Let me make sure you guys are with me first. All right. Looks like we're live. All right. Let's get into this next story. Now, this has to be our top story for today. According to Yahoo News, a third of Americans believe that all is not what it seems when it comes to Pokemon stickers. Well, we could have told you that. 28% of Americans surveyed believe the truth about the harmful effects of Pokemon stickers is being deliberately hidden from the public. The results of a new poll shared exclusively with Yahoo News finds that 28% of U.S. adults believe without evidence, right? There's a lot of evidence out there, but they don't want to talk about that. And what about just the concerns that people have? What about bodily autonomy? They don't talk about that. Believe without evidence that the truth about harmful effects of the Pokemon sticker is being deliberately hidden from the public. Well, I think the reason why people probably believe that is because despite all of the events that have been listed, only some of them are actually breaking through to be confirmed events. Maybe that's why people think that you go from this huge list of events down to just a few. The findings are part of a global research conducted by the YouGov Cambridge Globalism Project, which looks at how different countries perceive a variety of theories. According to the research, at least 1/5 to 1/3 of respondents said they were convinced that the truth about Pokemon stickers was being withheld from the public. Well, I think we can all agree that when people try to talk about the truth or talk about aspects of the Pokemon sticker, that is being withheld from the public because it's being censored. So, of course, people are going to feel this way, right? I mean, that much is true. Whether it's true or not, what people are talking about, the fact is that any discussions about it are being censored, right? Taken together, these findings emphasize the extent to which they're calling it, that word, has entered mainstream politics of numerous electorates around the world. So now they're going to try to weaponize this politically. And people are going to start running on platforms that are based in these theories. We kind of had that with Thump, didn't we? Where he was basically throwing out a carrot, telling us, oh, I'm going to address all this stuff. We're going to dig into some of these theories. We're going to investigate. And of course, he never did. He was just playing to his base. There were a large number of people who were really upset about the lies that have been told in the past, weren't there? So, this is interesting. What else do we have here? Well, here's some news on Maxwell. In just 5 days, we will have the Gizwell trial. Hold on, I'm going to cough, guys. And as I'm speaking to you, the voice is slowly going away. I don't know if we're going to have a show tomorrow, but I'm going to do the best I can to get through the rest of this one, you guys. So, 5 days away from the trial. Now, will this be televised like the Rittenhouse trial? Apparently not. They're saying because this is a federal case that this will not be televised. And they're saying that this is because of case precedent, that federal cases are never televised. Well, maybe all that should change, shouldn't it? We have still yet to see, well, we're not allowed to say that because according to the Facebook group, that is now being fact-checked. You can't talk about Gizwell and the images, let's call it, of her. You can't talk about that anymore. They immediately will fact-check that. So that's what's going on. Here's the article on why it won't be televised. They're saying it's case precedent for federal trials. Of course it is, right? I would like to see this all go down, wouldn't you? I would like to see the evidence presented. I would like to see the list of names of all the people that were involved. It's very convenient that we don't get to see that, isn't it? Now, we're going to talk a little bit about race. And this is important because I'm pretty much at the tail end of this whole race thing. You know, there's been a lot of information going on with this. And this is exactly what the controllers want. They want us discussing whether we're on the right or on the left. They want us all at each other's throats, don't they? And I feel like the media controllers are intentionally covering stories and allowing and encouraging retaliation in order to increase the racial tension. And I don't want to be any part of it. What's clear to me right now is that the left wants to punish white America for things that they didn't even do or things that their ancestors did. And they're punishing white America by allowing what they're allowing. They're encouraging unlawful behavior. And in my eyes, they're literally radicalizing a segment of the population of the people of color. They're doing that by spotlighting these baseless arguments under the guise of race sympathy. And this doesn't do anything for the black cause at all. In fact, it breaks my heart because it completely undermines the root problems of black issues in America. What issues am I talking about? Well, weaponizing racism to have black people focused on all the wrong things. You know, instead of dividing, what should be done is bringing people together, right? Making people feel part of the American dream. education, work programs, specific opportunities that reach deep into the communities that feel like they've been left behind. And I'm not just talking about black communities. I'm talking about poor white communities as well. And by doing that, it would bring them up to the standard that all poor Americans believe they deserve. You know, there are lots and lots of programs, work programs, to help people develop specific skills: welding, heating and air conditioning, wind power. Tons of jobs, but they're rarely matched up with the people who complain that they've been left behind. Specifically, people of color that feel like they've been left behind in America because of their race. Notice that none of this has to do with a race problem on our peer level here in America. I'm talking you and me and all of the people down here on this level. That's not the race problem in America. The real problem is inequity of money. Right? Here's what happens. These inequities that people believe are happening is a mental state. Yes, people get stuck in these states of generational victimhood, people of all colors, but sometimes disproportionately people of color, because of our, our history started a little bit later than everyone else's in terms of opportunity. So these types of opportunities and the infrastructure maybe wasn't available or was not as developed. So what happens is the left radicalizes, or not radicalizes it, the left weaponizes this, and it gets people into this state of victimhood, generational victimhood. And so maybe we need more aggressive methods to help people get caught up, white or black. But it all starts with your mental state. Where is your mind? Are you sitting around blaming everybody, or are you ready to receive opportunities? Now, here's where we get into the controllers, because they could be doing a lot better job at presenting these opportunities to people of all colors that are in poverty, right? So how does that happen? Well, we'll get into that. But if you want to be a victim, that plays right into the division that our controllers want. Because why? Because it takes the eyes off of them and it puts it on each other. And we're not the ones who can make change, the changes necessary to catch people up from, who feel like they're left behind. Now, I know that less government is better. I understand that. But would anybody be opposed to like a tax-funded marketing campaign? Let's say they had trucks driving through all the worst neighborhoods in America. And the trucks drove through and they had information. And I'm not just talking white or black neighborhoods. I'm talking both. And they had counselors that they could connect people with, kind of like when you were in high school. And you could help hold somebody's hand from the start of their certification through to the end. And at the end, it would be completed with a job placement and a roadmap for relocation. And if you had to move to a different area, they could even front load your career, your new career in whatever location you were going to be in. And, maybe take a premium from your wages to help relocate you. So a lot of this wouldn't be free, but it would be, them basically helping you along. Because let's all be honest, it's very difficult to go from dirt poor to actually trying to be part of the economy, isn't it? It doesn't matter if you're white or black. It's difficult to do. In other words, it's a skill set to be able to have a job, work in a career. Not everybody learns that. Some of us take it for granted. Some of us that are good at it take it for granted. But we can all agree that it's not for everybody. Some people have to work really hard to learn how to get a job, how to keep a job, how to stay alert at work all day. And if they're given a roadmap and some assurances that the whole thing's not going to fall apart as long as they perform, I think a lot more people would want to be part of what they call the American dream, right? So here's how it would go down. Let me start from start to finish. Truck drives into town. They've got contact cards or whatever you want to call it, handing it out to people who are interested. Maybe the person driving the truck is some kind of counselor, like an ice cream truck, right? They drive through, they stop, they talk to people. Now, of course, this would be a kind of a dangerous job in certain areas, but I think that the people in those areas would be like, you know what? That's really cool. They actually want to help us. They want to give us an opportunity to learn a trade. And then they follow up with the people that they made contacts with. They show them what training programs there are and where they're located. They get them in contact and get them, signed up with the particular trade. Maybe provide some kind of transportation to get there through the certification program. And then they place them in a job. And if they need to find a new place to live, they could say, okay, we're going to take 10% of your wages until you have first or last month's rent paid off. And we're going to get you relocated. And then those people go to the front of the line when it comes to renting in that area because it's backed by the government. And everybody's happy. Now, who would disagree with a program like that? How many hundreds or thousands of people could you save from the grips of poverty that just needed a little bit of direction in their life? You see, up to this point, America has basically been one big free-for-all. If you know the right people, or if you have established connections, the door's open for you. But if you don't, you're left behind. And it doesn't matter what color you are. And this is a lot of what Black people are complaining about. They feel left out. Or they're limited to these left-wing roles that continue to reinforce the victimhood mentality and the lies, and nothing ever gets solved. But notice, in all of our discussions today about this, not much of this has to do with a race problem between peers, you and me, because we don't have the power to control the outcome of that other person. But notice how the media and government focuses on that, because they have us looking at each other instead of the root of the problem. It's a system of oppression, is what it is, for both colors, and it's largely economic. You guys, there are just as many, if not more, poor white neighborhoods as there are poor Black neighborhoods. And all of these people could benefit from a little bit of guidance and opportunity. You know, we're supposed to be the land of opportunity, but we do a really poor job of demonstrating that opportunity to the people at the bottom, don't we? Now, I know that there are programs out there like this, I get that are already in place. But how about we do things a little bit differently? How about a more aggressive approach to help people see the light at the end of the tunnel and be part of this American dream? And guess what happens? Wouldn't this be one less point of contention between races? Seeing that there's opportunities for people easy opportunities for people to get out of poverty? Wouldn't that help bring races together? Because we could both look at each other and say, hey, look, the same truck that drove through your neighborhood drove through mine. There are jobs waiting for you to be had. All you got to do is get off your butt and go and get the certification and training. They'll be with you from start to finish. There would be no more excuses, right? Because as people of color, that sticking point of unfairness in the job market would no longer exist. And guess what? This strategy would be it would make an immediate impact on crime and unsafe neighborhoods. Wouldn't it? People that didn't think they had any other options now have a roadmap. Now, I can't think of anybody who would be opposed to a few $billions spent on a program like this. Look at all the other programs they waste money on. This one seems to make sense. Anyway, it's just an idea, bringing people together instead of tearing them apart. You guys were all the same. We are all the same on this level. It's the controllers that are pushing the atmosphere of division as a means to their own end, and to take the emphasis and to take the attention off of themselves so they can continue to rule over us. And we need to call them out. We really do. So, what else do we have here? All right, you guys, I'm running out of voice here. Looks like Pfizer is saying they have 100% effectiveness in long-term analysis in adolescents. How can that be? There hasn't been a long-term yet, has there? Wow. It says here, Pfizer has announced top-line results from a long-term analysis of the safety of the Vidco Pokemon sticker in individuals 12 through 15. So they apparently in a phase 3 trial, and they're saying it's 100% effective. Wow. 2,230 participants, that's 322 backwards, showed that 30 cases of Vidco are reported in the placebo and 0 in the Pfizer group. Huh. Wow. 100%. Well, looks like this is when you know the world's changing, right? When things that you buy at Dollar Tree no longer cost $1. Now it's $1.25. Dollar Tree will start selling most products for $1.25, and all it's how do you say that word? Eponymous? I don't know how to say that word. In an effort to offset the impact of spiraling freight costs and other spamdemic-driven challenges. So all of you Dollar Tree shoppers out there, not so good news. It's now $1.25. Now you'd think they would rename the chain, right? Apparently not. What else do we have here? Okay, so this is our last story. Some of you are following this laundry story. And now they're saying that they have the results of his autopsy and he did himself, is what they're saying. Now, I can tell you what I think happened here. For those of you that believe that this case was even real, I believe that Gabby was the target. And Laundry had to be dealt with because he was a witness. And he might have even been taken out initially so that they could pick her up, whoever these people were. But as this couple drove across the country, they ran into some bad actors. And I believe that these bad actors had connections to the local authorities in order to cover this thing up. You see, when they found her body, they originally were talking about collecting DNA to look at any other possible, causes or whatever, to try to convict other people that might have been related to this. They were talking about DNA in the beginning when they first found her body. But what they did not talk about was an RAPE kit, which normally is just standard to do, right? And then all of a sudden, this discussion about DNA was dropped. They didn't talk about it anymore. Now, you would think that this would have been spelled out in the coroner's report, whether she was RAPE'd or not, and what the results of the DNA analysis was. but there's simply no mention of it. It was basically scrubbed or dropped from their investigation. Now, the only thing they do tell us on the autopsy reports is that she was strangulated. That's all they say. And, if nothing was found with the DNA, shouldn't they have stated that on the autopsy report? Because we'd all like to know what happened just before her death. So this is what's going on with that case. If you're following the Petito case, basically they're saying that he offed himself according to their information. Oh, we have one more story here. Soldiers who refuse the Pokemon sticker can still serve, but their careers are over. This is the thanks you get for your sacrifice. Army officials are telling soldiers who refuse to get the Pokemon sticker that they aren't getting booted immediately, but they can't stay in the service for a career. Wow. So, this is what's going on, you guys. Let's go back into the chat here. Good morning, everybody. Someone doesn't like my idea? Okay. I don't understand why that would be a problem to try to help people, connect people with careers. Like I said, not everybody's cut out for job hunting, interviews, all that stuff. That's very difficult for most people to do. It's not always the most qualified people that get the jobs. It's the people that know how to get jobs that get jobs. It's the people that have the connections that get jobs. That needs to change in America. It shouldn't be about who you know. It should be about, yeah, I'm sick, Mark. Battling a cold at the tail end of it. Just my voice is gone. I feel better. It's just I don't have a voice right now. So I just can't understand why that wouldn't be a good idea to help people get connected with what's available. In America, we do a terrible job at showing people opportunities and helping people to find opportunities to work. We do a terrible job at it. It's literally a free-for-all. There's no assurances of how to get into something. And even if you do, there's no through line. In other words, there's no start to finish package. If you perform, then you should have some assurances, like a contract of something like that, right? But that doesn't exist in America. It's a free-for-all. And unfortunately, look, I've seen this 100 times. Job posting goes up. You're qualified. You apply for the job. They only posted the job to give the illusion of fairness, but they, from the very beginning, already had a person slated for that position. Does that sound fair? Does that sound like, think of all the time people wasted filling out, the form, in submitting their resume, filling out the application. They put the job in. They're excited about it. They think they're going to get it. And the whole time, there was already somebody slated for the job. But they put it on there. They posted the job just to make it look like they were being fair. That shouldn't be happening because you're just wasting your time. And a lot of people don't deal with rejection well. Why is it that you should have to apply for 50 jobs before you get one in America? We live in America. This is supposed to be the greatest country in the world. Why are people having to apply for 50 jobs to get a job? That should not be happening. Right? They want us to pay insurance, to have insurance and assurances. Cities get contracts, companies get contracts, but you and I don't get a contract. Affirmative action is not fair. Someone asked the question. But all of that could be fixed with the system that I'm talking about. Now, this requires us to think outside of the box, because this hasn't been done before. But name one reason why this wouldn't work. If anything, it would provide lots and lots of qualified people to do the job. Wouldn't it? It would give a lot of people hope. It would reduce poverty. It would reduce crime, because people would now have hope. They would have something to do instead of thinking that their life would be just a life of crime. I know there are applications online. I know all that. But maybe I'm not explaining this correctly. Most people apply for 50 to 60 jobs before they get one. You know how much time that takes? To only know that 80% of those jobs have already been filled by someone somebody knew to get into the job. That's not fair, and it wastes everybody's time. Half the jobs aren't even real. You're just spinning your wheels and driving yourself insane. And most people would agree that most of the jobs that you've gotten is because of somebody you knew, not because you applied for that job and you were the best qualified. So the whole system needs an overhaul. And I don't know how that's going to happen, but it's one of the main problems in America, and unfortunately, it can disproportionately affect some people of certain areas that they live in, white or black. So I think I'm about out of voice, you guys. I love each and every one of you. I hope you guys all have a great day. We're kind of touch and go for tomorrow. If my voice is better for tomorrow, we'll be back on here. I love each and every one of you. Have a great day.